Good morning, everyone. Paul Ruppel here with Fox 29 News Now. Hope your Thursday's off to a great start. You're looking live at the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. Thank you for joining us this morning. We've had some breaking news this morning. We're going to get you to several of those stories. The first is from overseas. Let's get you that story first.
Venezuela, as you know, has been very much in the news, and we're sending supplies. Supplies are getting through a little bit more. It's not easy.
That was President Trump speaking in North Korea. This morning, no deal was reached between the president and North Korea's leader during their second summit in Vietnam. In fact, the summit was cut short. The goal of these summits is to dismantle North Korea's nuclear program, but the president says sometimes you just have to walk away. In an overnight news conference, the president says Kim demanded full removal of U.S.-led sanctions.
Venezuela, as you know, has been very much in the news, and we're sending supplies. Supplies are getting through a little bit more. It's not easy.
That was something President Trump said he wasn't ready to do, not willing to do.
They were willing to denuke a large portion of the areas that we wanted, but we couldn't give up all of the sanctions for that. So we continue to work, and we'll see, but we had to walk away from that particular suggestion. We had to walk away from that.
Will all the sanctions that are currently in existence remain, sir?
They're in place. I was watching, as a lot of you folks over the weeks have said, we've given up. We haven't given up anything, and frankly, I think we'll end up being very good friends with Chairman Kim and with North Korea, and I think they have tremendous potential. I've been telling everybody they have tremendous potential, unbelievable potential, but we're going to see. But it was about sanctions. I mean, they wanted sanctions lifted, but they weren't willing to do an area that we wanted. They were willing to give us areas, but not the ones we wanted. John?
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says he wishes the two sides could have gotten further. The president says Kim assured him he'll continue to hold off on nuclear and missile tests. Trump says he'll take Kim at his word. There are no current plans for a third summit. Of course, the other big story was back here in the States. That was the Michael Cohen testimony that occurred in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Fox's Doug Luzader joined us this morning to talk about that. He's got reaction from the president as well as others. Of course, Cohen was Donald Trump's lawyer and also his fixer. He's back on Capitol Hill for a third round of testimony today, this before another committee after his blockbuster hearing yesterday. Cohen, at that hearing yesterday, lashed out at his former boss, and the president now is calling him, quote, shameful.
Up to North Jersey. Now they got to come back. Thank goodness. 7:10. Former Trump lawyer and what they call fixer Michael Cohen is back on Capitol Hill for a third day of testimony after that blockbuster day yesterday on camera.
Yeah, when we say yesterday, it was all yesterday, didn't it? Until, what, 5 p.m. or so?
Yeah.
Well, yesterday, Cohen lashed out at his former boss, and this morning, the president calling him, quote, shameful.
Doug, can you recap a whole day in 2 minutes?
Well, we'll recap portions of it anyway. But yeah, there was a lot that went on yesterday. The president is commenting about this this morning, or he did right before he left the big summit in Vietnam. He is none too pleased about this. I mean, some of this testimony really stung.
Air Force One lifted off from Hanoi this morning with the president on his way home from his summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. That meeting may have ended in a draw, but the president was clearly aware of what was happening back in Washington, as his former attorney, Michael Cohen, was on Capitol Hill getting some attention of his own.
I think having a fake hearing like that and having it in the middle of this very important summit is really a terrible thing.
He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
As advertised, Cohen did not hold back on the president as he testified before the House Oversight Committee. He produced evidence, he said, of the president's duplicity, including what he claimed was a reimbursement check from the president for hush money payments to women who claimed they had had affairs with Trump.
This $35,000 check was one of 11 check installments that was paid throughout the year while he was president.
Cohen also said that during the campaign, Trump knew in advance that WikiLeaks was about to release a trove of emails damaging to rival Hillary Clinton. And he suggested some issues involving the president are still under investigation by the U.S. Attorney in New York.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. No one should ever listen to you and give you credibility.
Republicans reminded Cohen that he's about to go to prison for already lying to Congress once. And the president did defend Cohen on one front, alleged collusion with Russia.
I was actually impressed that he didn't say, well, I think there was collusion for this reason or that. He didn't say that. He said no collusion. And I was, a little impressed by that, frankly.
All right, Michael Cohen is going to be back here on Capitol Hill a little later today to testify before the House Intelligence Committee, but this hearing, as opposed to yesterday's, will be behind closed doors. Mike and Alex.
All right, there'll be leakage. Thank you, Doug.
Probably.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you to Doug for that report. Another conversation from this morning on Good Day Philadelphia. This was Fox Business Network's Tracy Carrasco joining us. JetBlue announced the giveaway to end all giveaways for travel lovers. All you have to do is give up your Instagram for a year. Would you do it? That was the conversation Tracy had with Mike Jarek and Alex Holly this morning on Good Day.
Up to North Jersey. Now they got to come back. Thank goodness. 7:10. Former Trump lawyer and what they call fixer, Michael Cohen, is back on Capitol Hill for a third day of testimony after that blockbuster day yesterday on camera.
Yeah, when we say yesterday, it was all yesterday. It didn't until, what, 5 p.m. or so?
Yeah.
Well, yesterday, Cohen lashed out at his former boss, and this morning, the president calling him, quote, shameful.
Doug, can you recap a whole day in 2 minutes?
Well, we'll recap portions of it anyway. But yeah, there was a lot that went on yesterday. The president is commenting about this this morning, or he did right before he left the big summit in Vietnam. He is none too pleased about this. I mean, some of this testimony really stung.
Air Force One lifted off from Hanoi this morning with the president on his way home from his summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. That meeting may have ended in a draw, but the president was clearly aware of what was happening back in Washington, as his former attorney, Michael Cohen, was on Capitol Hill getting some attention of his own.
I think having a fake hearing like that and having it in the middle of this very important summit is really a terrible thing.
He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
As advertised, Cohen did not hold back on the president as he testified before the House Oversight Committee. He produced evidence, he said, of the president's duplicity, including what he claimed was a reimbursement check from the president for hush money payments to women who claimed they had had affairs with Trump.
This $35,000 check was one of 11 check installments that was paid throughout the year while he was president.
Cohen also said that during the campaign, Trump knew in advance that WikiLeaks was about to release a trove of emails damaging to rival Hillary Clinton. And he suggested some issues involving the president are still under investigation by the U.S. Attorney in New York.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. No one should ever listen to you and give you credibility.
Republicans reminded Cohen that he's about to go to prison for already lying to Congress once. And the president did defend Cohen on one front, alleged collusion with Russia.
I was actually impressed that he didn't say, well, I think there was collusion for this reason or that. He didn't say that. He said no collusion. And I was, a little impressed by that, frankly.
All right, Michael Cohen is going to be back here on Capitol Hill a little later today to testify before the House Intelligence Committee, but this hearing, as opposed to yesterday's, will be behind closed doors. Mike and Alex.
All right, there'll be leakage. Thank you, Doug.
Probably.
We'll see you tomorrow.
My apologies. I rolled the same package there. This should have been the Fox Business Outlook about JetBlue. Here we go.
Okay, so for all the Instagram people out there, I'm one of you. I'm a big fan of Instagram. It's one of my favorites out of social media platforms. Well, JetBlue is giving away a year of free flights if you're willing to just delete your Instagram.
All right, Tracy, how does it work?
Yes, so JetBlue has this new giveaway. It is called the All-You-Can-Jet Pass. They're giving 3 lucky winners plus a companion, basically tickets to fly anywhere JetBlue flies as often as they want. But yes, the catch is you do have to delete your Instagram pictures. They say the reason is they want the winners to start with a blank social slate, which means they want the winners to take pictures of all of their travels and adventures to really highlight where they are going. So they're saying it's not a requirement that you post these pictures. That's just what they hope.
Wait a minute.
So in addition to doing...
Where would you post if you don't have Instagram?
No, you delete the pictures. You don't delete your account,
You
right?
delete the pictures,
Okay.
yes.
Oh,
exactly.
you still have... Okay.
Not your account.
Because we were saying you lose
So you
all
still
your
have an
followers.
account.
Okay, so you still have your followers.
Oh, but they want you to post pictures of JetBlue.
No, they said,
Of
she said you, they
JetBlue,
hope.
where
They
you're
said you don't have
going.
to. You have to, or they just
Yes.
strongly suggest?
It is not a requirement.
See, look at that. So you could go and still post pictures of a wall like you normally do,
and then
Mike.
people, your followers would naturally go, oh, you took JetBlue to get there and all that kind of, so that you are marketing for JetBlue.
Yeah, but think of all the places you could go.
Think of all those places, yes. JetBlue flies to a lot of the Caribbean islands. You could take lots of Caribbean island vacations, especially in the winter. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, JetBlue does go there.
So, Tracy, would you do it? I mean, you have some great pictures. Would you delete them all?
You know, that would be tough, but I wonder if I know that there is a way you can archive them, which hides them.
Ooh,
It
tricky,
doesn't
tricky.
delete them.
Cheater.
If that would work
Now,
for
hold on.
JetBlue.
I need to see the paperwork because there's got to be some really fine print that says you can't take like 16 flights a day for 365 days.
You're saying they have to limit you?
I would.
And then
think.
I guess they're not giving you 2 tickets, right? You'd be doing all solo
No,
trips.
instead of
wouldn't you?
companion.
Oh, companion? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, you and a companion. You would have to quit your job because you want to go to all these
Well,
places.
yeah. So it's probably rich
That
people
would be your job.
who don't need free flights. Oh,
Oh,
who
that's
knows?
true. Yeah, you still got to pay for everything else.
Yeah.
The hotel, the food.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll never win anyway.
Thank you, Tracy.
Tracy, well, I think we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks.
How about that?
See
So
you
Mike-
tomorrow.
Thank you to Tracy for that report. Apologies, I accidentally rolled the wrong one there at the top. Want to get you to a developing story that's happening this morning. This was Route 309 in Upper Dublin Township. I believe it's Upper Dublin, Montgomery County. Might have been Lower Gwynedd, right on the border there. Route 309 was closed in both directions for several hours Thursday morning after state police say that more than a dozen cars spun out, causing pileups on both sides of the road. Our Steve Keeley was out there this morning. He and his crew got this video of the cleanup, and you'll see a salt truck come through and try and get rid of some of the possibly freezing precipitation that might have caused this accident. It sounds like it was slippery conditions out there at the time after a band of snow came through. Route 309 was closed in both directions between Susquehanna Road and Bethlehem Pike until about 8 a.m. Our Steve Keeley tweeted at one point that drivers of the Pennsylvania Turnpike were getting a big bright warning. Route 309 was closed. So hopefully they'll figure out alternative exit plans before getting caught in miles-long backups after multi-vehicle crashes and icy road conditions in both directions near Susquehanna Road. Of course, if you're watching Good Day Philadelphia this morning, Bob Kelly was helping you work around this scene. State police say about 20 cars, might have been in the teens, were involved in separate pileups on both sides of the roadway. And as I mentioned, Bob Kelly reported that Bob Kelly, doing traffic here on Good Day, reported that there were icy conditions in the area after that overnight precipitation quickly froze over. PennDOT crews salted on the roadway, put salt on the roadway before reopening the road, as you saw on the video there. Multiple injuries were reported as a result of the crash, but officials at the scene told Steve Keeley they did not appear to be serious. So thankful for that. That takes us to weather. Let's get you a look at the current weather conditions here. Here's a look at the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. Rather light traffic, pretty clear skies, not much cloud cover in the blue skies. A little bit of clouds off in the distance you can see there. Current conditions about 36 degrees. The dew point is 17. Winds out of the north at 16 miles per hour. Here's a look outside our studios at 4th and Market, looking east on Market Street. Ultimate Doppler radar right now. You see it's pretty quiet. A little bit of snow falling over the mountains. But we did have that line of precipitation move through overnight. Let's see if that showed up on this earlier scan here. No, looks pretty much the same. Your current temperatures, it's 36 in Philadelphia right now, 30s across much of the area, 42 in Dover being an exception, and 18 in Mount Pocono, cooler up there. In the north, for the northeast U.S., some 40s down to our south, teens and a single digit up in the U.S. Northeast. And looking across the country, 74 in Miami, 70 in Tampa. Southeast, your warm spot. A little bit warm in the southwest as well, 50s there too. Bit of a difference in Texas there, 56 in Houston, only 30 in Dallas. And then in the plains, you see we've got northern plains, we've got some cold temperatures, 4 in Minneapolis, 7 in Rapid City, 4 in Billings. As far as our temperatures, we're slightly warmer than we were yesterday. It's about 7 degrees warmer at this hour than yesterday, 10 degrees warmer in Wilmington, but warmer everywhere than yesterday. Yesterday was a cold walk. Kind of walking to work, I felt my face going a little bit numb. It was pretty chilly. Your wind speeds, it's a bit breezy out there in the teens just about everywhere, 20 miles per hour in Wrightstown and Dover. And we're having some gusts into the 20s and as high as 30 miles per hour in Trenton, New Jersey. And that's causing some wind chills. It feels like the 20s in Philadelphia, 26 to be exact. 20s and 30s across much of the area except Allentown where it feels like 18 and Mount Pocono where it feels like just 5. Your visibility, as we mentioned, it's pretty good. In fact, it's perfect across the area. Not too much in the way of cloud cover on satellite. Let's get you to a look at the futurecast. You see we're going to have some snow starting to move into the area after midnight. Oh, that went really fast. Let's do the national setup and then we'll come back to that. There you see this on the wider look, the snow moving in. It's there for the morning rush hour, so it is something we'll be monitoring. We'll go really slow here. Oh, there it is at 9 a.m. and it's out of here by, this one should be a slower look at it. There we go. 5 a.m. on Friday, we've got some snow in the area moving in. We could finish with some rain down to our south in the afternoon. And some mixed precipitation. Another chance of some precipitation Saturday, early Saturday overnight. Could see some frozen stuff north of the city, in the city up to the north. Depends on exactly where that line sets up, but it's mostly out of here by the afternoon. You can see a lingering spritz to our west later in the day Saturday. So here is the call from our Fox 29 Weather Authority. Thursday, clouds to sun, 40 degrees. We're calling it a 7 on our forecast by the numbers. Friday looks like a 6 with that AM snow and PM sun. Another high of 40, so could be similar. I believe that there's a call for about a coating to an inch in Philadelphia and points to the north. Areas like Wilmington, Coatesville, Vineland, Atlantic City, Dover, they could be looking at 1 to 2 inches from this snow tomorrow. So you'll want to keep tabs on the forecast. We've got a perfect tool to do that. I'll tell you a little more about that in a moment. Saturday, AM mix to PM clouds, high of 43. Sunday, late rain, 45 for a high, 30 for an overnight low. Monday, AM mix to sun, 36. Tuesday we're going to see a cold blast. Might be some sun, but it's only going to be 31 and a low of 17. And then a polar plunge on Wednesday when we're looking at potentially not getting out of the 20s. with a low temperature of 14. I mentioned we have a tool where you can get our forecast anytime. This is our newly updated Fox 29 Weather Authority app. If you've used the app before, you know that it it used to load right into the radar. It's a good interactive radar. It shows you the current conditions, and you can the last couple of hours, like every 5 minutes, a radar scope. I'll show you that in a minute, and you can even do a future cast on there. What the new app does is it puts the current conditions right front and center for you, and it really surfaces all the different features that are in the app and makes them easier to get to. You see we've got the interactive radar, then the hourly forecast. You can scroll a little bit through that right here. You've got the 7-day forecast, but you can go in for more information. You can see the morning forecast. When we cut the forecast for our website, they'll show up here as well. And you can watch us live right here in the app and find out more about our weather team. So let's go step by step here. The interactive radar. Pulling it out a little bit so we can put it into motion for you. I think I've got a layer on that shows you some of the storm tracks down there in the bottom left. But you can put this into motion and see where things are headed. So you can track the storms right here on your device. You can also turn on a future cast that will show you where things are expected to go. You can see the timestamp in the bottom corner there, bottom right. You can change from precipitation to, say, the temperatures, and it'll show you graphically the temperatures using that color scale down at the bottom. Same for winds. See where the winds are gusting. You can change if you didn't want, cloud cover down there in that fourth position. You could drag another type. You could see alerts, so we could see winter alerts right in that spot. Close that. So you can customize and personalize this however you like. There you see, I think you can click on that. There's a winter weather advisory in effect from 10 p.m. this evening to 10 a.m. Friday for parts of Maryland and Virginia and West Virginia. Let's go back out to, you can choose multiple locations. I'll put it back to Philadelphia here. Your last selection on the radar will stay with you. But we can go back to the home screen. You can go tap into the hourly. You can see a little more information. You get the temperature, the conditions, the time, and the wind, the expected wind forecast at that time. If you go straight to the daily, you can see a lot of those, the forecast for each day. You can get a write-up of it. You can get the sunrise, sunset, moon phase, UV index, just about everything you might want. And then going back to the home screen here, as I mentioned, you can watch our latest forecast from the Fox 29 Weather Authority team. And you can watch our live stream anytime. If there are alerts in effect, severe weather alerts, they'll appear right at the top of the app. And same goes for school closings. As soon as school closings start coming into our newsroom now, you'll see them right at the top of the app. And you can go and learn more about our weather team here. It takes you to a link on our website. Kathy, Sue, Scott, and their most recent tweets, and more. The app went live the other day in the Google Play and Apple iTunes stores, so make sure you download that, and thank you for using it. I think it's a great tool for our viewers to stay on top of the weather. Of course, one of the best advantages of it is that we'll follow your location and the locations that you choose, so you can select those locations on your own and then get severe weather alerts by your location as soon as they're issued. All right, let's move on to another local story. Happening today, the parents of a 24-year-old woman hit by a garbage truck driver will hold a press conference announcing a new initiative. Emily Fredericks was hit and killed by a garbage truck while riding her bike at 11th and Spruce in 2017. Investigators say the driver was looking down at paperwork and had earbuds in at the time. Yesterday, police announced vehicular homicide charges against that driver. In September, the truck's owner, Gold Medal Environment, reached a $6 million settlement with Emily's parents. I believe they joined our Fox 29 Sabina Kyriakos out at the scene this morning and talked with her about the initiative that they are launching called Families for Safer Streets. Here is they talked with Sabina later this morning, and here's the interview.
We're here at 11th and Spruce. This is where Emily Fredericks was killed, and we're actually joined by her loving parents, Rich and Laura. And just talking to you guys this morning, I can see how much you love her and how much you're doing in her name. Tell us about this press conference this morning.
We're announcing our Families for Safe Streets group in conjunction with the Bicycle Coalition this morning. We're joined by families who are in our same situation that have lost loved ones due to traffic violence.
So many of them that you can't even imagine. I didn't even know that there were these many families who were in such pain in our city.
Yeah, and we've met so many nice people along this journey of losing Emily and missing Emily, and we're trying to make a difference out here in Philadelphia.
And Rich, you were telling me earlier that if Emily was here, she would be right here with you fighting for this cause.
Absolutely, yes. She'd be right here. She loved the city. She loved the whole action of it all. And, you know, we were a little shaken by her coming here, but, you know,
it was a big city. She was coming from small town New Jersey.
Yeah, but she embraced it and loved it, and
we were just starting to have fun with her here.
Yes.
And that was cut short.
What are you calling for this morning in this press conference? You have some specific initiatives you want the city to do and things you want to change.
Yeah, you know, we're looking at safer streets for all. Bike lane protection, clearly marked bike lanes, transparency with the police and district attorney's office, you know, along those lines. But the bottom line is, I think...
Culture. Change the culture for everyone, different mind frame for everyone that is on the roads, using the same roads. So hopefully that'll happen. We know it's a slow move, but it's moving in the right direction for us. So.
And I know from speaking to you guys earlier, you're feeling like there is momentum for this change to happen, and that's why you're out here, and you're part of that momentum, of course.
Yes.
And it's just such a amazing example of you guys working through your grief and fighting for Emily and fighting for these families. So thank you so much for talking to us and talking to us about your young girl.
Thank you. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
We're very sorry for your loss, but you're doing amazing things.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, guys, back to you.
Thank you to Sabina for that report. You heard there the family launching an initiative to try and improve conditions so nobody has to go through the heartache that they have, or at least fewer families, make the streets safer for everyone. All right, let's get to some other stories here. This was a breaking news story last night during our 5 and 6 o'clock shows. A Mercedes was stolen in East Germantown with a 6-year-old boy inside. Thankfully, the boy is back home and safe. Late last night, after hours of searching, police found the Mercedes that was stolen, but the search for the 4 men who stole it continues. Some video of the car being recovered. I believe this is more. Police say this happened on East Tulpehocken Street. A 36-year-old man was carjacked at gunpoint. The 6-year-old boy was still inside along with another adult passenger. They were eventually dropped off in the area of West Cheltenham Avenue and Malin Road, where police say they were able to safely walk home. But the 4 men kept the car for hours, stealing an unknown amount of cash, a phone, and sunglasses that were all inside.
Is it people that desperate for a car that you have to just hijack a car with a child in it? You're not paying attention to who's in a car, or, thank God that nothing happened, but it's crazy.
This child, boy, girl, whatever, might be traumatized for the rest of their life.
Police are now on the hunt for the 4 men. Anyone with information is asked to call police. The family of a man shot and killed by Philadelphia police officer has filed a wrongful death lawsuit. In August, investigators say undercover cops were serving a warrant at the home of Jeffrey Dennis, but they spotted him driving nearby, so they tried to stop him, which is when the situation escalated. Surveillance video shows officers boxing in his car. Dennis tried to drive around them, but ended up hurting 3 officers. That's when another officer, Richard Nicoletti, shot and killed Dennis.
The fact that one day that my child will be able to Google how her father was killed and be able to see it and witness it and to know that no justice is being served is insane. Something has to give.
Dennis left behind 3 kids. His family filed the lawsuit against the city of Philadelphia, the police department, and Officer Nicoletti. New developments in the murder of a pizza delivery man. The 30-year-old victim, Bobby Jenkins, is from Ardmore. He was killed in Overbrook. Investigators think his murder may be connected to a similar shooting. Police say Jenkins was delivering food to a home on Woodcrest Avenue, but the house was empty and it was a setup. A man robbed, shot, and killed the victim, Jenkins. The home's back door had been broken into. Jenkins' older brother is heartbroken. He says his brother was recently married.
He loved everyone. I mean, not just family, everyone. That's how he went about life. That's how he went about his everyday.
Police are now warning food delivery drivers to be cautious and urge drivers to be aware of their surroundings. In Bucks County, just blocks away from one of the most horrific crimes Morrisville has ever seen, was a moment of silence as the community gathered to remember 5 lives lost. Friends, neighbors, and mostly strangers attended a vigil for a family found dead Monday night. It was standing room only inside the church. The names of each victim, along with a prayer, was read aloud. Although we may never really know why such a horrible act took place, those who attended the vigil said it wasn't a night for answers, it was a night for community.
We're all, grieving right now, and it's just no words. It's a time to come together. And help the family and help the immediate family get through this.
Police have charged 45-year-old Shayna Decree and her 19-year-old daughter Dominique in the murders. In New Jersey, great news for New Jersey Transit riders. The Atlantic City line is set to reopen this spring. What was supposed to be 4 months turned into nearly 6 months of no service. The line originally closed back in September so positive train control could be installed, a closure that became a big inconvenience for riders who had to find alternative ways of transportation. But Governor Murphy has given an official reopening date. Still, riders aren't getting their hopes up.
There's been nothing up until this point, nothing on the websites, no text pushes or an email, just to say, hey, we're working on things, we've encountered difficulties, we're outfitting our rail cars. There's just been nothing. And I feel like the only reason why this has come out now is because, they're really getting pushed to the wall. So it's not by choice now. So that part I'm still a little leery about, but I'm hopeful, that they've opened some, lines of communication up, and hopefully they can hold up to their end of things.
Officials are now hoping they'll have enough engineers, but say 6 new classes are in training now. So when will the line reopen? The estimate they gave, they're saying May 24th. So we'll see what happens there. We'll continue to follow that story. Steve Killey was reporting on that this morning before he headed out to that bad crash on Route 309 in Montgomery County. Lawmakers in Delaware want you to be a little older before you can buy cigarettes. The proposed bill would change the legal purchasing age from 18 to 21. It would apply to all tobacco products, including e-cigarettes and vaping devices. The bill also prevents a parent or guardian from buying tobacco for anyone underage. Retailers caught selling tobacco to underage customers would be slapped with a fine of anywhere from $250 to $1,000. Students removed. Dozens of boys are being pulled out of the Glen Mills School after a Philadelphia Inquirer investigation into decades of alleged abuse and cover-up at the school. Now local authorities are investigating. The author who broke the story joined us in studio this morning. Here is that conversation from Good Day Philadelphia.
A garbage truck driver has been charged with vehicular homicide and related charges following the 2017 death of a cyclist in Center.
Sorry about that. Rolled the wrong video. Here is the conversation on Glen Mills.
Here we go, 7:35. It's the oldest reform school in the nation. It goes back to the 1820s. And look, it made the paper again today. This is a follow-up report. Glen Mills, the Glen Mills School, or schools as they call it, losing students. More than 80 boys from across the country are being removed from the Glen Mills schools.
The drastic move is in response to an Inquirer investigation that dove into decades of alleged abuse and cover-ups at the Delaware County campus. According to the Inquirer, Delaware County's district attorneys conducting a probe into possible abuse at Glen Mills, and like Mike mentioned, the oldest existing reform school in the United States. The recent Inquirer investigation uncovered decades of abuse by counselors. Boys claimed they were threatened to keep quiet about the violence they were forced to endure. Since the story was published last week, juvenile courts in Michigan, Texas, California, and Pennsylvania have begun the process of pulling their boys from the school.
A lot of boys, as a matter of fact. Well, Inquirer reporter Lisa Gartner broke this story. Lisa, amazing work by you that took, what, 6-7 months to do?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been working on that since about last summer when I first learned that 2 counselors had brutally assaulted a teenager from Philadelphia over little more than mouthing off.
I think most of us know about the Glen Mills School. It's actually just one campus, but they call it schools, many different buildings. Mm-hmm. Explain, people that don't know, what is the Glen Mills School? I call it reform school. Is that a term we still use?
Sure, you can. It's a program for court-ordered boys when juveniles commit crimes or violate their probation too many times. A judge may decide to send them to a secure placement.
And like Alex said, from all over the country, and even out of the country.
Right. Boys from California, Texas, parts of New York, D.C., all go to the Glen Mills schools. It's founded in 1826 and has the kind of reputation to match.
I was going to say, it's not just that it's the oldest, it has
results.
Been considered that, yes, it gets results, and that's part of the reason why so many states send boys there.
Well, it's an incredibly beautiful campus. It looks more like an elite prep school or a Harvard than a juvenile program.
All right, so what are the allegations? So we can't go through all of them, but some of them.
Because there's so many.
People getting choked, their heads slammed into refrigerators and stuff like that.
An open secret, nearly daily abuse of children in their care by their counselors and teachers and top leaders at the school, essentially condoning it, the reporting shows, by not training or vetting the people that they're hiring and insulating themselves from these reports.
We're going to leave this up for quite a bit here because it's a lot of words to read, but read through these things. It's all part of the report.
Yep, there's, my reporting showed that even the most vulnerable students in their care were not off limits. There was a boy with aortic stenosis, a heart condition, who was beaten severely by his counselor for doing nothing more than talking about the abuse at the school with another student. A Los Angeles boy was, taken to a stairwell, held down by multiple counselors, choked and beaten for trying to run away because he was homesick.
How do you know this?
Well, in addition to reviewing thousands of pages of documents, I interviewed did more than 40 interviews with former students, counselors, and people who have looked closely at the campus.
Earlier you mentioned it was an open secret and it was condoned. Do you mean by the people involved with the school, or because you mentioned in your story about a mother who went to visit her son and she noticed that there were bruises and that he was injured and she was really concerned? So is it only people who are involved at the top level knew about this, or you're saying just in general people knew when it comes to Glen Mills this can happen?
This school has been open for literally hundreds of years, churning out alumni who all knew that this was going on, whether they experienced it firsthand or they felt it. So certainly it has trickled out at points to the officials who concern themselves with the school.
Is it people turning their head because they get results?
You know, I think there's a vested interest in having places like Glen Mills. One, again, it's beautiful. It looks like a place where things like this shouldn't happen.
Oh.
And, you know, we need places close to home that boys who run afoul of the law can go.
So you, an updated part of this story, you're mentioning all these states are saying they're going to reconsider this and they're pulling out boys from the school. What do you think will be next for Glen Mills?
Well, they are losing, they stand to lose at least 1/3 of their student body already. So I think, you know, either what lawmakers are calling for are drastic changes. Otherwise, it's
maybe changes in leadership, or
right. Otherwise, it raises the question of how they'll be able to continue to operate.
Of course, the school had to respond to this statement here.
They're saying we are working closely with any jurisdiction that has questions or concerns, including Philadelphia, as the school has been having conversations in recent days with state officials and local officials and individuals currently at the school. We are also learning that many want to stay at Glen Mills schools. We are open to answering all questions and look forward to the findings of the external review panel. Dr. Massey and Leslie Gomez are nationally recognized experts in their respective fields with decades of experience. We look forward to their independent findings and sharing them with the public. And it should be noted, though, for some of the boys who wanted to leave, they were threatened that they might go to a place that might be worse or, you know, might not have the same access.
And I would push back against the notion that it's an independent panel, given that they've been hired by the Glen Mills schools to investigate the Glen Mills
Such
schools.
an expansive story that took 6 months to put together. We have other layers to it, and we'll cover that in the next few days. Great job.
Yes, thank you for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay.
Thank you for that report on the Glen Mills schools. The Cardboard Classic is tomorrow at Jack Frost Mountain. And Jen Frederick was out in Pottstown this morning talking to a couple who are going to be getting married at the Cardboard Classic. Let's watch that report from Good Day Philadelphia this morning.
Benefits. Thank God.
Jen.
This, it's amazing. By the way, they're all my best friends already. Fair?
Fair.
And by the way, they've already asked me to stop singing, which is a whole nother issue. Okay, so this is the house where you will say I do to your beloved.
Yes, it is.
Okay, how in the heck did you convince her to do this?
It was a joke 5 years ago. And she said, fine, let's go.
All right, so let's go around and see this. You gentlemen will all be there, yes? Oh, yeah. You did a special mullet to commemorate the event?
Oh, yes. I got a mountaintop on the side of my head, too, as well.
I love it. Okay, so as we come around, this is amazing. How long did this take for you guys to build?
2 months.
Okay. All right. So you'll be up here, okay? I don't want to even be in your special spot, but I'm going to be. So you'll be here, right?
Yes.
And then you have someone who is going to marry you.
Correct. Yes.
What will that person be wearing?
He's going to be a judge, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a robe and he's got a powdered wig.
Okay.
And he was going to do a scroll. I'm not quite sure if he is or not, but
All right. And then basically we have decided that you'll probably get married on the top of the hill, and then you'll go down the hill. And so, Jared, I want people to see, like, during the ceremony up on the top of the hill, your people are going to be like, you know, like here, right?
Yes.
When they go down the hill, I suggest they go backwards.
I agree with you.
But they do have options?
They do have options.
They have options. They can pick these up.
Whoa.
And turn them around.
Yep.
And they will go back. I mean, it's a tight fit so that they're secure, but
They can hold each other almost.
Our friends aren't wusses, so they'll go down backwards.
I mean, I'm a wuss, so I'm not going down backwards.
You're going to stand up here and hold on, right?
I'll sit right there. He can stand.
I'll stand.
He likes to stand. I like to sit.
That way, if this thing falls over, I'm inside of it and don't get hurt.
Okay, good call. Last thing.
Life insurance.
That's good. That's why he wants you on this thing. As we wrap it up, I want you guys to know that they are having a proper reception, and you're hoping that this survives to be the photo booth for the reception.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Best wishes.
I have to see
May
this.
you have the most amazing, ridiculous wedding ever.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping.
And just to remind everybody what the Cardboard Classic is. Thanks.
So great.
That thing that you just saw there is going to be like this. This is from last year. Fire trucks, Winnebagos, you name it.
But it'll also be made of cardboard, tape, and there's one other item.
I think
but
Staples might, I think something like that.
Yeah.
So that church, that chapel, is going to be doing that tomorrow live on Good Day Philadelphia with Preston and Steve. All right?
That does look like a lot of fun. Looks like they're going down the tubing hill there with their cardboard contraptions. And best of luck to the newlyweds. Want to get you, let's take another look outside at conditions here. Looking again at the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. Still at 36 in Philadelphia. Winds out of the north at 16 miles per hour. Oops. Here is ultimate Doppler radar for you. Pretty quiet right now, but we did have a line of snow move through early this morning. It froze up and caused some problems on the roads, especially that accident with at least or around 20 vehicles crashed on Route 309 in Montgomery County. We brought you some of the cleanup video there from earlier this morning, so could have another coating to an inch or maybe two further south later tomorrow morning or during tomorrow morning's commute. So make sure you are checking the forecast and keeping an eye on conditions before you head out tomorrow morning. Let's take a quick look around the region with our Fox 29 Weather Authority weather cameras. Here is a look at those right now. I don't think I've ever seen this shot from our Wilmington camera. It's a nice view of the river here. I don't think I've seen it turn that way. I also hadn't seen the shot where our Wildwood camera appeared to be pointed straight towards the sky. You're looking back at Allentown. Let me pull up that Cape May shot again. Nice shot of the lighthouse. Put radar on for a second while I dial that up. Here again is Cape May, New Jersey. We are ending February today, and we are 3 months from, a little less than 3 months from Memorial Day weekend. Today's the 28th. Memorial Day weekend will start Saturday, the 25th of May. So, springtime, not too far away anymore. We'll take it as soon as it'll get here, right? A couple things to let you know. Oh, there's a boat moving into the shot too. Quite pretty this morning. I want to show you a live look at Capitol Hill, where we expect, we'll bring to see if we get the feed in. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic leader of the House of Representatives, is expected to speak today. She usually holds a weekly news conference at 10:45, and I saw that on the live list. We'll see what happens with that, if we can get that in. Also, Sky Fox is headed to a breaking news story right now. We're told there's a truck possibly involving a cement truck. This is in Chalfont, Bucks County, in the area of, I believe that's going to be 152 Limekiln Pike and Upper State Road. So when that shot is available, we'll try to get you there. In the meantime, here was a this morning on Good Day Philadelphia. Everyone loves a baby. A group is getting creative about animal adoption, offering sip and snuggle parties at area wineries and breweries. Did we mention the animals? A baby goat? We've been looking forward to this segment. Here is the conversation from Good Day this morning.
Oh, look at this.
Okay.
Oh, come here. Oh, I'm lucky.
Hey, Sue, come on over and sit on the end of the couch, because that's our special guest today. Your goat. That's Nick Foles.
Oh, yeah, and look, I brought a football
Foles
for him to catch.
Okay. Come on, hey, Nick.
Come here. It's okay.
You want the bottle.
There you go. Come on.
Is there another bottle for Nugget?
There you go. Nugget. Oh. Okay, here we go.
The reason we wanted to have the greatest of all time here in Philadelphia as far as Super Bowl victories, Nick Foles, is because Nick is officially, as of last night, he's not going to be an Eagle anymore. We'll explain this whole goat thing here in just a second, and how you can cuddle them as well.
And this is warm milk. They know what they like.
Yeah. I do want to tell you what we're going to cover in this hour, though. A group is getting creative about animal adoption, offering sip and snuggle parties at it's going to be up to you, Sammy, in the area. We'll talk about that.
So we're showing you right now, there's all these beautiful little goats, and you can have them at all different events all over the place right now. So we're having some fun and decided to bring them in as we have our 9 a.m. chats today.
Okay. Brittany is here. Brittany, tell us about you and all your friends you brought in.
So, we get goats from farms that can no longer take care of them and need to find homes for them. So our way of finding homes for them is by having these events where we do battle time, so people can sit with them and cuddle with them. It also gets them socialized with people, so that way when they do get adopted, they're good family pets. They're not just farm animals. They can be happy family pets that love to cuddle.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's very therapeutic also.
People watching the show Where are you again?
We're in Maple Glen, Pennsylvania.
Glen.
But we do events at breweries in the area as well.
Like Chad's Ford?
Chad's Ford Winery we've done. Crooked Eye Brewery. Naked Brewing Company in Huntington Valley.
Goat on the loose.
Oh, okay, thank you, Sue. I'll take that
They
bottle.
love to drink. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the bottles were a bad idea. I'm done.
They're very excited.
Okay.
But if you want to adopt them,
okay.
you can adopt them.
You can. I would check with your township first to make sure
it's
that you
okay.
can have them.
And you have to adopt them in twos.
Yes, they're herd animals, so they like to be paired. They don't do well by themselves. And you don't need a whole lot of space for them. They just need a small enclosure and a nice shed that they can go into and be warm and things like that. But they're wonderful pets, and they just love to be around people and cuddle. And even when our people just come to do the snuggle time, it's really therapeutic. They sit with you and they just cuddle, and it makes you so happy.
Look at Nugget here on Alex's.
Tilt it a little bit so that way. Yeah.
Because Nugget is not hungry anymore, and it just sits here and cuddles.
Yes, Nugget and I have bonded.
Especially after they drink. They just want to sleep.
Well, me too. So they do calm you down, don't they, a little bit?
They do. They make you feel warm and fuzzy, and when you sit with them, it kind of reduces your heart rate, reduces your breathing, and you just kind of want to sit with them and relax.
Do these know how to do yoga?
They do a little yoga. They like to do a lot of, they enjoy interacting with tabletop and downward-facing dog and things like that. They're really good climbers. Goats are actually great climbers.
Yeah, okay. That one's empty.
So you have some events coming up, too, like where people can go themselves and bottle feed and do it. You have one at the, is it Boss Sip and Play? It's a fundraiser?
Yes. We have one tonight at Crooked Eye Brewing Company in Hatboro. We have one coming up on Sunday at Chad's Ford Winery also. In Lahaska.
Sure.
And yeah, people can just come, they can hang out with the goats, and then afterwards they either do their wine tasting or they can try some of the beers that are there.
And how much does it?
I think it's $25 so it's an hour. You get to hang out with them. You get to bottle feed them as well.
How do you get a hold of you?
On our website, horseandgoatyoga.com.
Horseandgoatyoga.com. I never thought I would say those words together.
Right.
Now, everybody here on the set is used to working with an old goat. But these are the youngest goats we've ever seen. Like the one in your arms there. How old is that goat?
These guys, our newest ones, are between 2 and 5 days old.
Oh my God, she's eating my shirt.
Oh yes, they love to eat everything.
Kids like no.
Some of these goats have only been alive 48 hours.
Correct, yeah. So when you see them walk, they're still kind of long-legged and still trying to get their footing. And
now, the old wives' tale was that they'll eat anything. They'll eat tin cans, they'll eat paper and all that, do
yes,
they?
but that's bad.
That's bad for them.
So what do you feed them?
Usually when they're babies, we do bottles, and we start introducing hay. It's important for their ruminants, so it's important for their gut to have hay.
Yeah.
And then we also do grain as they start to get older.
Again, we're looking at a tie shot of Nugget there. Nugget is so relaxed.
I know.
Nugget is
Again, that was Cuddle Goats on Good Day Philadelphia this morning. Thank you for bringing those in and sharing them with us. Unfortunately, it looks like we have a bad accident here that Sky Fox is over. Let's take you live out to the scene. We're told this is in Chalfont, Bucks County. And this is a crash with at least one serious injury involving a cement truck. This is at, let's see, a couple different locations for this. So we'll just say Bucks County in the areas of Warrington and Chalfont. Chalfont is a little bit west of Warrington Township. Upper State Road is the location, and it's causing some road closures in the area of Route 152 and 202. Again, this is in Chalfont, Bucks County, in the areas of 202 and 152 and Upper State Road. We're hearing at least one person has been injured in this accident. Don't have a report yet on the exact extent of the injuries. but you see officials there at the scene shutting down the intersection and investigating the crash. If we get more information, we'll bring that to you. Of course, we'll be on the air tonight with Fox 29 News at 5, 6, 10, and 11. We'll have full reports and updates on all the stories we've brought you so far this morning. We do have a live feed in right now from CPAC. That's the conservative event, the American Conservative Union, holding its annual conference. Let's listen in for a bit. Here is the conference ongoing. If House Speaker Nancy Pelosi steps to the microphone and we see that live feed available, we'll bring that to you too, but we'll listen into CPAC for a little bit here.
Work that needs to be done from the standpoint of removing regulations. There will still be some, and certainly we won't get them all done. But from the standpoint of innovation, and I'm not going to talk about innovation from the sense of what it's going to do on the regulatory front. What I'm more interested in, the Department of Energy, is I tell people, I said, look, the DOE ought to stand for the Department of Everything. I mean, we're involved in so many things. Sure, the energy industry, whether it's fossil fuels, whether it's renewables, whether it's the nuclear side of things, hydro, all of those types of things that we're working on and we're making good progress on, whether it's in advanced nuclear reactors and continuing to push America forward as a leader in the civil nuclear energy side of things. But we're doing things on the medical front that the vast majority of the people of America have no idea would be involved in. And let me give you one example. In the area of traumatic brain injury, we've been working for the last 2 years and putting some programs together. And somebody went, wait, whoa. What are you over DOE being involved with traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress for? Because we operate 5 of the 10 fastest supercomputers in the world at the department through our national labs. So these supercomputers are giving us the ability, working with some other folks like the University of California, San Francisco, and their School of Neuroscience, entrees into being able to manage information and put data in and get answers back that we've never been able to do before. Jeffrey Manley, neurosurgeon at the university, has said that he's finding more answers on brain science in the last 10 months than he has in the last 10 years. This is the type of innovation that American taxpayers want to see with their dollars. For instance, he's come up with a device about the size of an iPad, a little bit thicker. Take 1 drop of blood, put it on a slide, put it in the side of this device, and they're able to tell whether or not that patient has been concussed within 10 minutes. You think about the impact that has for traumatic brain injury in an automobile accident, on the battlefield. A soccer mom whose child has been concussed, and they're really worried about, is my child going to be affected long term here? Make sure I send them to the right hospital to get the right treatment. That's the type of innovation that you're seeing at the Department of Energy, using some of our supercomputing capacity. So, I'm excited about the future of what's happening out there. This administration is pushing that type of technology forward, technology that's showing real results for the taxpayers of this country.
And Secretary Chow, what did things look like at transportation?
Well, the president actually is, started this whole thing by coming out very early, in early February 2017, asking that for every new regulation that is implemented or promulgated, that there will be 2 regulations that would be withdrawn. So just in the Department of Transportation alone, in the previous administration, more than $3 billion annually in increased regulatory costs came out of the department. And this is just one department out of the whole federal government. So you can imagine the regulatory burden that was being imposed on our economy. So the president comes in, and in February he issues this new EO, which requires withdraw 2 regulations for every one. I'm very pleased to say that in a very responsible way, the Department of Transportation has withdrawn 46 regulatory actions, and we have...
How many yet to go?
We're looking at 100 more.
100 more.
So on the...
Hold
on the, doesn't it scare you that there's so many? And we do it...
There you have Secretaries of Energy and Transportation Rick Perry and Elaine Chao speaking at CPAC. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is speaking with reporters right now in Washington, D.C., holding her weekly news conference. This is her first news conference since the House voted the other day to pass the Bipartisan Background Checks Act of 2019. She tweeted about that just now, and they also voted to try and block the President's National Emergency Declaration. Let's listen in to what she's telling reporters now.
We have another bill on the floor today to expand on that in terms of a timetable. We said we're going to do the Equality Act, and we'll be marking that. We'll be announcing that in about 10 days, 2 weeks perhaps. We're going to do Dreamers and TPS in the same time frame. And as I said, we'll continue with the equal pay for equal work. So we are, again, there are a lot of high-profile events going on around here, but our work to support the financial being of America's working families goes on. The president is returning from Vietnam from his meeting with Kim Jong-un. I guess it took 2 meetings for him to realize that Kim Jong-un is not on the level. He was a big winner, Kim Jong-un, in getting to sit face-to-face with the most powerful person in the world, the President of the United States. And really, it's good that the President did not give him anything for the little that he was proposing. As you probably know, he said he would shut down one of his, well, he said he was going to, the Yangbyan. That Yangbyan has been a subject for a long time. He would shut that down, but what we want is denuclearization. They didn't agree to it in the first meeting. They didn't agree to it in the second meeting. And as you know, they wanted lifting sanctions without the denuclearization. I'm glad that the president walked away from that. Diplomacy is important. We always support it. But the prospect for success, God bless you, the prospect for success seemed dim in light of the insincerity of Kim Jong-un. I've been, as many of you know, to North Korea, to Pyongyang, beyond the DMZ, and very serious concerns about North Korea. Always hopeful that diplomacy can take us to a place ever suspicious of the motivations of a person like Kim Jong-un. So I'm glad that that didn't work. Earlier, last weekend, I was pleased to lead a delegation to the Munich Security Conference and then on to Brussels for NATO meetings. I'm proud to say that our delegation was part of other delegations that went. Over 50 members of Congress were there, House and Senate, Democrats and Republicans, reasserting our commitment to the transatlantic relationship between the U.S. and Europe, as well as our commitment to NATO to strengthen it. People seem very happy to see such bipartisanship, House and Senate, with a very positive message of the importance of that region to us. So those are some of the things that have been going on here. And right now we're debating the second bill, H.R. 1112, for gun violence prevention. So if I run out the door, it's because I have to go make a vote. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Speaker, the President
Katie.
of the United States seemed to side with Kim Jong-un on the question of Otto Warmbier, the American student who died after being in North Korean custody. What's your reaction?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with what the President has said about that.
He was asked about it, and he seemed to say that Kim Jong-un denied a role in this and that he believed Kim Jong-un.
Well, see, as I said, I don't think Kim Jong-un is on the level, and the President has believed Putin as opposed to believing his own intelligence leadership on subjects. So, again, I didn't know the President said that, but it's strange And I don't know, there's something wrong with Putin, Kim Jong-un, in my view, thugs that the president chooses to believe. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Speaker, what should the consequence be if the president did violate campaign finance laws while in office?
You know, I haven't, no, let me just say, I read you what we're doing here. We're constantly busy. And so I didn't sit down and watch the proceedings yesterday. But I do know what I saw in the reporting of many of you is that Chairman Cummings was just a magnificent maestro. And each and every one of our members did a very good job in trying to elicit the truth, to try to get to the facts. Some of it was confirmation, as Jerry Connolly said. Some of it confirmed things that they had heard otherwise. And some of it, as you heard, was possibly new. Some of the high-profile statements seem new. Again, I'm not in any position to verify what he said, but that would be Mr. Cummings had, I trust his judgment, and he had some questions about suspicions that might be true.
Would that be an impeachable offense?
Well, I'm not going into that. We have two investigations, the Mueller report that we're all anxiously awaiting, and as was indicated, the one thing I did see widely reported was that the witness said that other issues that he was aware of were under consideration by the Southern District of New York. So let's see what that is. But again, impeachment is a divisive issue in our country. And let us see what the facts are, what the law is, and what the behavior is of the president. I've said to some of you running up and down the hall, right now, what I'm concerned about is the president's undermining of the Constitution of the United States, which, with his, again, ill-advised declaration, I think he's totally wrong. I was at the border this past weekend. What he's proposing is going on there is mythology. It is not reality. I wish you could all go to Laredo for the week of the birthday of George Washington and honoring George Washington, Martha Washington. So patriotic, such pride and heritage, such patriotism about America. So that concerns me more than what may or may not be said now. When the facts are known, then we'll make a judgment then. I'm also concerned about what the president is doing in denial of what is happening in terms of climate change in our public policy arena, that he is still in denial. I'm concerned about his heaping praise on a tax bill that gives 83% of the benefits to the top 1% and ignores the needs of people as we write budgets. So I'm more concerned about his policy than his personality. However, when the facts are known, then we can make the judgment. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Speaker, on the gun votes, you're a good vote counter. What do you think the chances are that either of these can get 60 votes in the Senate? And if they cannot advance in the Senate, what would you say they've achieved, if anything?
Well, these bills are bipartisan, especially the one yesterday, which was the heart of the one that we have worked so hard on for such a long time. Today is an important continuation of that. You've heard me say it over and over, public sentiment is everything. 90% of the American people, 90% of American people support background checks, even members of the National Rifle Association. Most of them who are gun owners have had their background checks, and they have no, they personally don't avoid that. So 90%. Some of the figures are stunning, though. Do you know that 43 children or teenagers die from gun violence in our country in a day? So I think public sentiment is going to play. I quote him all the time. Abraham Lincoln, public sentiment is everything. With it, you can accomplish almost anything. Without it, practically nothing. Public sentiment is there. I think the public is tired of moments of silence, a time of mass murders and high-profile tragedies. But these tragedies happen in the lives of American people every single day of the week. So I count the votes in the House, not in the Senate, as you know. But I do think that when the opportunity is there for a bipartisan bill, which is very discreet and focused, and is the bill that will save the most lives, that hopefully we can get a positive vote from the Senate.
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Yesterday, the House Republicans passed another motion to recommit with an ICE amendment on that gun vote. And there's some reports out there that Democratic leaders and yourself are considering changing House rules to perhaps give more notice and have members more time to read these motions to recommit. How seriously are you considering these changes? And then also the minority leaders' offices threatening that this would ground all legislation to a halt if you do take these steps.
Well, I don't know that he has authority to do that. The power of the Speaker is awesome. However, they should remember that. However, I'm a big believer in respecting the whole House and the rights of the minority to have their say. I do put me in a different category. I think you should just vote against all motions to recommit. It's a procedural vote. It's a gotcha on the part of the opposition. Let's make life easy. Just vote against them. Should there be some review of everything that we do? We have now a modernization, select committee on modernization from our side, chaired from our side, yes, by Derek Kilmer of Washington State, and they are going to be having open hearings on issues of concern to me. Well, let me make their announcement about their agenda. But I think that's an appropriate place for some of that discussion to take place. In the meantime, vote no.
Madam Speaker, to that end on that question about to John's question. Well, the power of Chad is awesome.
Do you agree, or is that a one-man show?
If you'll indulge me, just to follow up on John's question here.
Maybe so, maybe not.
The idea, though, that some of these roll call votes on MTRs are good votes for your members to show voting against leadership if they're from swing districts, if they're freshmen. That was certainly the case in 2007. Is that not a good vote for some of them to take?
No, vote no.
How so? Explain.
Vote no. Just vote no, because the fact is, a vote yes is to give leverage to the other side, to surrender the leverage on the floor of the House. So again, we have, our members are so fabulous and they're so great. Weren't they wonderful in the hearing yesterday, and now they're behind closed doors in intelligence. If it weren't for you, as ex officio, I'd love to just be in that room and hear what's going on, but I unfortunately don't have time for that. No, my view is that they should vote no. There are plenty other times when they can vote no, but express their, shall we say, opposition to the leadership on the form of a bill, vote against a bill. But in terms of the order of the House, it's a procedural vote. I suggest a no vote. Should there be some discussion of any of what we do here, we now have established a modernization select committee on modernization of Congress, and happily, the minority leader has appointed people to it. We're still waiting for his appointments to the select committee on climate. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
That was hilarious.
You've been watching House Speaker Nancy Pelosi holding her weekly news conference in Washington, D.C. While we were there, Skyfox was over the scene of a trolley accident, we're told. Did not see the trolley on scene anymore, but this was Skyfox over the scene. There were a couple of police cars there. I think that might have been an ambulance close to the building. Right now, chopper will come around to that. Here it is. Yeah, the trolley was gone when our helicopter arrived, only police and an ambulance on scene, but we're told this was a trolley versus a car crash at 41st and Lancaster. Hopefully everyone's okay there. Looking to see if we have any new information on the cement truck. No, not just yet. We'll be checking in with authorities in Bucks County about the crash there. in Bucks County. Thank you again for joining us on Good Day Philadelphia. Excuse me, I'm not Good Day Philadelphia. This is Fox 29 News Now. We show you some clips from Good Day, but we're certainly not Good Day. Appreciate everybody viewing today. Tried to get you around to some different live events and updates on stories that we've been following for the last couple days. Again, make sure you download the Fox 29 Weather Authority app, the new and improved app. Much more friendly, user-friendly. Kind of highlights all the different things. You used to have to really dig into the menu, scroll the menu at the bottom of the screen, and then find your way around to some of the different features that are available in there. If you want a really good place to just check the conditions before you walk out the door, it's great one-stop shopping for that. You can get the conditions, you can see the radar, you can see what's going to come in the near future. And that comes in handy this time of year because we had some snowy, very light snow overnight that caused some crashes on Route 309. We're going to have a little more snow tomorrow morning. I was just looking, Sue Sario tweeted that let me hit the refresh button here. I'm pretty sure I saw, oh, I know it was on our station Twitter feed. Snowy AM commute tomorrow. Snow moves in after midnight. Light accumulations 1 to 2 inches. I believe it's coating to 1 from Philly north about, and then maybe 1 to 2 to the south of the city from what it looked like on the models and maps. This ends by 10 a.m. in Philly and changes to rain to the south. So make sure you are keeping an eye on the forecast. For now, let's leave you with that beautiful shot from Cape May, New Jersey, the lighthouse in the distance. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll be back again Friday morning at 10 a.m. Thank you for watching.